Hey everybody, JTVectorSigma back for another Cyberverse reaction. We got another 2 episodes all queued up here. Episodes 11 and 12. The titles are Sabotage and Teletron X. Or maybe Teletron 10, I'm not really sure. The second one is interesting because Teletron 1 is usually the name of the Autobots' main supercomputer. They have a ship named the Ark and a computer named Teletron 1. So maybe in this version it's Teletron X? I don't know. Maybe we're going to be getting something about how they find the ship or how the ship was built or something like that, and this is the computer that was installed on it. Maybe it's a prototype, I don't know. Maybe it's a more advanced version and they couldn't use it for some reason. I don't know. But Episode 11, Sabotage. That's a little bit of a weird title, considering that at the end of last episode, we're supposed to be going to find Grimlock. So I don't know what this sabotage thing could be about, unless Grimlock is a traitor, which would be weird. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just about, Bumblebee's trying to get to know Grimlock better, or, remember Grimlock, rather. And he's looking into his memories, and he comes across a memory of him and Grimlock working together, and they were foiling some sabotage. Maybe. Before we get started, of course, I should probably recap last episode, or the last 2 episodes, rather. So first we got Shadow Striker, which was about the titular character. We got to know her a little bit better, find out why exactly she's got a beef with Bumblebee. It's because he blew her up, which would piss off most people, I think. And then, my nose is all completely messed up for this recording. That's just not good. But, we got to see what became of her after that, and how she had changed from being this very competent, very not selfish, not self-assured either, but she had an interest in preserving her own life in the first flashback, and then we got to see in the second flashback that was completely gone. She is insane. She is willing to kill herself if it means killing Bumblebee. So yeah, that's interesting. But in spite of her hatred for him, Bumblebee spared her life because he's a good guy. And then the second one, McAdams, is the correct pronunciation. We got to see the, again, titular character, but we also got to see his oil house, rather, or what used to be an oil house and is now a club, I guess, technically, is what it would be. Hangout spot, let's go with, on Cybertron, and we got to see the Autobots and Decepticons before the war, during the war, and technically after the main war was over with. And McAdam is still there throughout it all. He is basically the last of the ancient 13 primes. Alchemist Prime is pretty much... It is pretty much confirmed that that's who he is. And he can see into the future, apparently? Or he knows the future, or something like that. I don't know, but he's a pretty cool character. I do hope we see more of him, and I just loved everything about what we saw in the flashback, the first flashback of that episode. The second flashback, though, I do have to say this, I got it completely wrong. I went on and on about how excited I was to see a character, Octane, in the episode, and how we have our first triple changer, and how they don't have the rights to his name. Oh, wait. Yeah, it was a mess. But I now know that that's not actually Octane, that is Deadlock, which is just a really cool character, because he's Drift. Drift is a relatively new character. He was first introduced in the IDW comic book series. He then made the trip over to the movies, and then to the RID 2015 series, and now here, apparently. And basically his deal is that he's this honorable warrior, which somehow translated into samurai, apparently, in the movies, because reasons, for fuck's sake. he's not actually a samurai, but he does wield twin swords that kind of look like katanas, and he's a badass, so whatever. He does kind of have a Japanese look in his car mode, I guess, sort of, but his robot mode is not samurai looking at all. In fact, he's basically Transformers Prime Wheeljack, is basically what he is. But it's interesting that he's in this world, and hopefully we'll get to see his relationship with Ratchet actually be explored. It would be awesome if this was the first Transformers cartoon series to actually explore how do I want to put this? Like, characters that are basically gay. Let's go with that. I mean, they're robots and technically they don't have gender, but they also technically kind of sort of do. They have like a chosen gender, and we have Camnus in here, which is a big deal for that in the comics. So I kind of hope we'll explore that and get to see Drift and Ratchet be a couple, because that's kind of one of the cuter things from the comics, I think. Ugh. I gotta pause for a second. Okay, hopefully I won't have to do that too often, but it is really hard to breathe through my nose right now. Yeah. So, McAdams and Shadow Striker last time, pretty cool episodes. I really love this series now. It started off good, it's getting better all the time, and yeah, I just really can't wait to see what comes next. I don't even have the next 2 episodes after this downloaded yet, but I know they're, like, really good, like, just based on their titles. So, yeah, I can't wait to get to those, but for right now, we have these 2 episodes to watch. I'm not going to be able to get to those other 2 today anyways, even if I had them downloaded. So, yeah, let's just get into this in 3, 2, 1, play. Alright, got the Kim Cartoon logo. And, oh, that looks like K-On! Maybe? Oh, Windblade and Bumblebee are...
The connection has been established.
Oh, Shockwave.
Excellent.
I will deliver Windblade to you.
Slipstream.
Dispose of her as you see fit.
Thank you, Shockwave. And the other Autobot?
He is using my portal's psychic patch. I will use it to enter his mind and show him what he truly is.
So he did invent it in this...
A Decepticon.
Oh, so this is in the present. Dang, that's pretty cool. That is really cool. So Shockwave's still around, still on Cybertron, and much like in the Prime Incarnation, he made the Cortical Psychic Patch. That's... wow. And yeah, this is... okay. So probably they're searching for Grimlock through the patch, and Shockwave is gonna somehow remotely mess with Bumblebee in his mind.
Must find King of the Dinosaurs. That looks like the face of a king.
No.
No, that's a horse.
Ah, scrap.
A horse. That's a...
I don't see any kings at all.
that's a dog.
I'm sure I've met a king before.
Yeah. Shockwave is just... okay, so he was able to force her out. And take over her. Okay.
What in the name of Primus?
Yeah, that's...
Still functioning.
that's gotta hurt.
What's going on? Why can't I get back in?
And meanwhile, Bumblebee is being guided
Kings
by
wear crowns,
Shockwave.
right? Here's Starscream wearing a crown. That can't be it.
Oh my god, Starscream wearing a crown. And here's a fake memory?
You must access this memory now.
What? Why are you talking to me like that?
Because we are friends. I enjoy your company.
Okay.
Do not be afraid. This is a good memory.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, lots of Autobots.
Our long journey has proven successful. Teletron 1 has detected the Allspark in a nearby uncharted system.
That makes no sense. Like, Drift is with
the
them.
moment we have waited for.
But
Go to
the
your
Allspark
stations and begin
is
preparations
not...
for retrieval. There can be no mistakes.
They were asleep. They were asleep, and Bumblebee was still in the stasis pod, so this should make no sense to him. He, should realize that this is wrong.
They've discovered the location of the Allspark. I'm sending you our coordinates.
Excellent work, Bumblebee. I look forward to seeing the Autobots' faces when they realize their beloved scout is a Decepticon spy. Disable the Ark's engines. And
Yeah, this is some bullshit.
Lord Megatron, I live to serve. What? I can't... What was that?
Yeah, that's not real at all.
Doesn't make sense. Everything's working.
And now she has to defend the ship. Oh, shit. They hacked the autopilot. Oh, shit.
That's bad. Oh, that's very bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a Decepticon ship. You should have expected something like this immediately and tried to take, you know, precautions.
No! Scrap! B! B, wake up!
He's got to fight this off on his own.
Shockwave has control of the ship. He's bringing Windblade to us.
No flying away this time.
Oh, wow. That's a gun. So they're in a hangar, which looks very similar to Unit E from Transformers Prime.
The Autobots. I was a spy?
That was not the end of the memory. You must remember the rest of it.
No! I don't want to see any more of that!
In order to understand, you must remember.
Bumblebee!
Oh, who's this?
All hands on deck. Massive explosions in engine rooms 5 and 7.
Right behind you, Rack and Ruin.
Oh, Rack and Ruin. That's a wrecker.
Hey there, Wheeljack.
You want to tell me why I saw you shutting down energon filtration on engines 5 and 7?
What? When?
You caused these explosions! I'm calling Optimus!
Wheeljack, wait!
What?
Yeah. This never happened.
Have you seen Wheeljack? We need him for... Is that Wheeljack?
Yeah, this never happened.
You did this! Traitor!
No! No!
I mean,
Wheeljack!
Bumblebee, remember? Yeah, obviously, I'm trying not to
Yes, you are.
scream
Okay,
at the.
ship. Where are you taking me?
I mean, ship can't answer, but. Okay. That's interesting.
Hope you said goodbye to your friend.
I never would have done that to Wheeljack! You know I would never do that!
You did do that. You have.
Okay,
forgotten
Shockwave's getting a little better at pretending, but.
I don't know!
Remember.
Yeah, no.
And tell us, just who was it that so cruelly attempted to deactivate you by pushing you out into the cold abyss of empty space?
It was him!
Thank you, Wheeljack. And so, my friends, it is clear we have the most dastardly kind of villain in our midst. We thought he was one of us, a fellow Autobot. But now we see this Bumblebee revealed for what he truly is, a Decepticon.
Enough! Bumblebee, we find you guilty. The penalty is deactivation.
Oh.
All hail Megatron!
Right.
I have
Yeah, this is some bullshit, but.
any way I like.
How about just shooting her in the face?
Let me know
Because,
what
like,
you
that's
want
the
about
sensible thing. Before she does something like that. Cool gun, though. I would have picked it up.
Choice will do.
She gonna have the ship shoot her? clever. I mean, you can't block all of them, can you? You can if she's that bad of a shot. Oh, come on. Optimus is not a horror movie villain. Nice trailer material, though.
Bumblebee, now that we are alone, we can discuss our next step.
Wait, what?
Our next step?
We have kept our cover long enough. It is time for us to rejoin my friend, Megatron.
Wait, what?
After we wipe out every Autobot on this ship.
Yeah, this is a nightmare, but... Oh! Whoa!
Would never do that!
Nice.
Would never do that! None of that was true!
Your reaction is logical.
I neglected to account for your illogical faith in Optimus Prime.
Shockwave? But... where's Windblade?
Locked out of your head.
Sustaining heavy damage from this ship's cannons. I will spare her if you provide the location of the Allspark.
But he can't, he doesn't remember it.
Immediately.
Scrap this.
Yeah. Illogical, but emotionally correct. Why are... Oh yeah, that's right, they shattered the windows. Seriously, Slipstream, you suck at aiming.
Immediately.
There is no way to stop this thing!
B, remember that red button I told you never to push?
Is that the self-destruct?
Push it and get out of there! Push it!
Self-destruct. Yep. Yep. Well, so much for their ship, but at least now they're in the...
We've
on
lost
Earth.
the ship, and you can't get back into your memories. How are we going to find the Ark now?
Oh, that's right, no more memories.
I'm just glad to have...
Well, I mean, there was a second ship. What happened to it? Huh. So, yeah, there's a lot to digest there. Some dumb things, but we'll get to that later. A fairly fun episode all around, I guess. And after episode 12, which, without the cortical psychic patch, must take place entirely in the real world? Wow, nice billboard.
No sign of the Autobots in this sector.
Return to base.
Right.
Affirmative.
Nova Star? Sharkinator. Like a Terminator and like a Sharknado type thing?
That's the
Combination?
third time today. We need to find someone.
Oh, Return of Sharkinator. Hey!
Wanna see that movie?
Yeah. That was dumb, but the right kind of dumb. So we got our first human. That's interesting. I wonder if they knew that Earth was even populated. I mean, there were structures there, so obviously. There's a green bar at the bottom of the screen that's bugging me.
We can't hide like this forever. We have to find the Ark before the Decepticon Armada arrives. We need to start searching right now. We'll split up.
I mean, shouldn't that fence be
We
electrified?
can cover more ground that way.
Okay, let's do it!
Now I know what you're thinking. Am I...
Oh, if they find the Ark, they can use the Cortical Psychic Patch there.
I couldn't agree more.
Sure, you don't remember who you used to be, and your fighting skills aren't all back. But when I first found you, you were a total mess. You were going around in circles, literally. But we've come so far. Not far enough.
What's,
But you can handle being on your own. Even if you're 1/4 of...
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
That's enough. When you have doubts, always remember...
Nice music, but...
Hold everything!
Look at this!
Huh?
There's another Autobot.
Distress signal. Oh, forget all that. Let's go.
I wonder who it's gonna be. Is it gonna be Grimlock? Also, that was not the right location.
Coming from.
Ew, creep-o-rama.
I don't like this
That
either.
reminds me of Transformers Prime, because it's a missile launching thing.
What's a
Why is it? Also, why is there a ladder that's big enough? Oh, no, that's the outside of the ladder. The inside is the actual ladder part. I'm a dumbass. That green bar is really bugging me. Ooh.
It doesn't
Did
look
another
like there's
stasis
anybody
pod
down
crash
those
here?
edges. The signal's getting stronger from that direction.
Now this part reminds me of the Hoover Dam base from the movies. Pretty cool. More horror movie stuff. Is there an Autobot trapped inside by
Autobot
humans?
signal's coming from behind this door.
Or is the signal not actually an Autobot thing, it's just on the same frequency? You do the honors, Windblade. If you can. Big open empty space.
Not crew. Not crew. Crew authorized. Hello, crew member Bumblebee. I'm Teletran.
Oh my god.
How can I be of assistance?
A drone.
I recognize the name.
Did you send the distress signal?
Not crew. Not crew. How can I be of assistance?
Oh my god, it's Miku from Star Wars Resistance. It has to be.
I am the mobile backup memory unit for Teletran 1. My directives are to preserve data and assist all crew members of the Ark.
This is a copy of the Ark's computer. Tell us where the Ark is.
As I said, unauthorized person, not crew.
Listen, you.
You can talk to me, right?
Absolutely. I enjoy talking to crew members.
So tell me where me ship be anchored.
Oh.
Sorry, but I cannot answer any questions about the location of the Ark at this time.
Oh.
Because I am a trap.
Oh. That's unfortunate. Wow. Nice.
This is the trap part.
That's funny. Oh. Acid Storm and I'm guessing I forgot his name. Is
Do you need advice
Firestorm.
on hand-to-hand combat?
No, just tell us how to get out of here.
So sorry, you are still not crew.
Oh dear.
Not this time, Autobot.
Back off.
Couldn't resist answering an Autobot distress signal.
Of course not.
Didn't think you would fall for something so obvious. Finally, this annoying little Ark drone is good for something.
Oh, they
I'm
found
just
that
saying,
Ark drone
not
and
crew.
Well, you're not.
Silence! I need Bumblebee to access this drone. But I have a feeling he's not going to help us without an incentive.
which is where she comes in. Or rather, hurting her comes in. Okay, I think we could tell that that was a taser without the lightning bolt on it, but whatever.
This drone, tell us where the Autobot ship is.
Don't do it, B.
In your dreams, dirtbag.
His collection of voice clips is surprisingly versatile, but whatever. Ow!
Crew member needs assistance. Activating defensive shield.
Nice. Useful.
Look, I'm a diversion. Great time to escape.
Come on, B.
Nice.
I'm helping.
I like that thing. It's hilarious.
It's been millions of years since I've seen a crew member. I've got so much to tell you.
Millions of years?
Just get out of here.
That's
You're going to tell us everything
unsettling.
we know once we're somewhere safe.
tell him, but you're
Not crew. I get it. Keep moving.
I hope I can find a different copy of this episode. Maybe just rip the run from YouTube? Can I find that? Can I do that? Maybe. I'll try it.
Which way now?
Because the quality is dropping and the green bar is not cool. Ugh, missiles! And they're split up. Luckily, there are 6 Seekers in total.
B, are you okay? B!
You are in another tunnel. Which one? I will come assist you.
Are you talking to B? What'd he say? Where is he? There she is!
Not crew. Ow. Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. But I mean, it is just rock and earth materials. Whoa! Whoa! That's new, but cool. And smash. No, dang it.
B! Can't go that way. The Seekers are behind me.
Ditto.
We've got to find another way out of here.
What she said.
You got it. This abandoned missile silo has many tunnels, but I have a complete map of the facility.
Is that thing gonna get destroyed?
Good news. There's a door right behind you. Isn't that great?
Unfortunately, it's human-sized. Wow. Just, yeah, smash through the wall.
This is where we came in. Let's go!
I mean, Blade could just fly out.
We are definitely escaping now.
Unless the ladder breaks, or they shoot the drone, or they shoot them. Ow! And press the close button.
Teletran X holds the future of the Autobots in its database. Go!
She'll find her own way out eventually.
I can't. I won't.
Get Teletran X as far from here as possible.
Yeah.
Now!
This is actually rather dramatic. Oh, that would have killed some of the lesser Seekers, but
in a matter of moments. Would you like a list of nearby hiding places?
yes. Nice.
Ooh, this is a good hiding place.
For you. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I need to get a better, different copy of that episode, because that version sucks in terms of quality. But otherwise, yeah, interesting episode. So where do I begin? I think let's begin by talking about Shockwave. Because I thought that this version of Shockwave would be a bit different in that he wouldn't have gone through the process of getting his emotions removed, which is what happened to the IDW version, which a lot of the characters in this seem to be based off of. Clearly, this version of Shockwave never underwent the changes to his body that the IDW version went through, I think, unless it happened way, way in the past, long before anything else that we've ever seen so far. But he didn't seem emotionless in the flashback to before the war. When we saw him in the bar there with Wheeljack, he seemed happy to be creating. So it's very apparent, though, that the version of Wheeljack we saw here, and now that I think about the version of Wheeljack that we saw in the flashback from Megatron is My Hero, that episode, Shockwave doesn't have his emotions. He's pure logic, just like he should be, but that seems a bit different from how he seemed in, or from how I thought he was. So either I missed something, or I'm reading into things wrong, or something, but I think it would be kind of cool to have an animated version of Shockwave that underwent that sort of shadow play process and had his brain altered. I suppose I should elaborate on that for anyone who is for some reason watching this and is not familiar with the comics. Well, I suppose there are people who could be watching this who aren't familiar with the comics for any number of reasons. I mean, I wasn't familiar with the comics really until this year, basically. Maybe it was last year. I don't know. It was a while ago, though. Well, not actually that long. It was, I should have said recent, rather, relatively speaking. Like, I mean, the comics just ended, and I barely got in at the end, so yeah, that kind of sucks. But to elaborate on that, in the IDW comic book universe, and full spoilers here to a ton of different plot lines, well, really one major plot line, but in general, it's just major spoilage here. So if you are ever interested, if you ever want to be reading the IDW comics and want to have a big reveal not spoiled for you, skip ahead, at least, so that way you're getting things out of context until, you know, it sounds like you're out of the spoiler zone. But basic gist here, Shockwave used to be a senator. And he wasn't a good guy per se, but he had good intentions. He was just utterly Machiavellian about them. His plans were basically advance science and make Cybertron great again, you know? Trump almost, but not quite. Like, it wasn't that. It wasn't a parody of Trump or anything. It was just that, you know, he had plans and desires to make Cybertron into the empire that it was back in its first age. And his plans came into conflict with the group known as the Functionist Council, and they basically said, fuck that, we're not going to allow you to do anything that would endanger our control over Cybertron. And so they basically arrested him on false charges. Well, not false, but like charges that shouldn't have mattered or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. It's been a while since I read it, but like they arrested him and they took him to a secret facility where they cut off his hands and removed his face, giving him claws and the one-eyed look, which is the same thing that happened to the Autobot Whirl, if you know who that is. If you don't, doesn't matter. But that process was known as Emperata. But they also had him undergo an experimental mental procedure. Experimental mental, that's weird. But it was an experimental procedure to alter his mind, and it was known as shadow play. And essentially, it removed all of his emotions, made him a coldly logical being, while still preserving his same personality. So basically, it took his Machiavellian attitude and his ruthlessness and amplified that all the way up to, I'm always right, everyone else is wrong, everyone better get out of my way, or they're going to die. Which ultimately led to a lot of very bad things down the road. And yeah, Shockwave is basically the biggest monster in the IDW Comics universe, second only to Unicron himself, which is really bad. But yeah, it's we're out of the woods now, so I might put on a timestamp. Only about 3 minutes later. But the basic idea of like this version of Shockwave undergoing a similar procedure, it's really interesting to me, and I kind of hope they do that. But I might have just, read it too much into like one or two scenes where it's like, oh no, Shockwave is always coldly logical and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see on that one. Otherwise, I I feel like this was a plot that maybe should have occurred a little earlier in the season, in the sense of, or at least the part about like Bumblebee being attacked by Shockwave like that. Just it seems like it's something that should have happened earlier on, because, well, number one, the Decepticons Shockwave should have been picking up the signal that Bumblebee was using that, like, immediately. So, yeah, he should have known. But beyond that, it's also just the fact that this feels like something that might have been a good thing to have happen, but, like, no, it seems like something that should have happened maybe in the episode, like, Megatron is my hero or something like that. It's hard to understand. Hard to articulate the feeling, but definitely earlier on in the series, before Bumblebee really knew a lot about his past, knew a lot about who he was, it feels like something that should have happened then. Especially because we had the whole flashback sequence from, which episode was that? Was it episode 4? Yeah, it was episode 4 that showed them going into stasis before they found the Allspark and everything, and also that showed that there were only a few Autobots on board the ship, very specific ones, and most of the ones that we saw in this episode, although I'm pretty sure their designs are correct, their names, everything, weren't on the ship. So it's very obvious that Shockwave has no idea what's going on right there. And I feel like that's something that Bumblebee should have been voicing, like, well, this isn't how I actually remember it, throughout the episode. Shockwave also didn't quite seem to realize that Bumblebee doesn't remember a lot of this stuff. Like, he doesn't seem to understand, like, why they're going back through the memories and whatnot. So it's kind of weird that that's a thing. I don't know. And in general, it does seem kind of weird that, like, they've had the ship for so long, but they haven't taken any kind of precautions to, like, keep the Decepticons from taking back the ship. Which seems like something that you would do almost immediately, right? I don't know. Seems like something I would do almost immediately. Definitely. So, yeah, Let's move on to the second episode here. So Teletron X is connected to Teletron 1, the actual computer aboard the Ark, but it's a drone? That's interesting, and it really does sound like it's voiced by Miku from Star Wars Resistance, which is actually not a bad series. I like this one a little bit better, though. So, yeah. Not really sure what else to say about it. It was a very straightforward episode. No flashbacks, no lore to interpret. Just a straight-up fight, get away from the bad guys. And very little interaction with the human world, which is kind of something that I would have expected. There seemed to be, like, a lot of abandoned locations in this show, which could be interesting to explore maybe why. I mean, we have a mountain carved in the shape of Bumblebee's head, so have the humans interacted with them in the past and Bumblebee just can't remember? Or did they, like, find them in their stasis pods? Because the other interesting thing is that the drone said that he hadn't interacted with any crew members in millions of years. But I got the impression that in this version, the Autobots and the Ark had left Cybertron relatively recently, like within a few years of, the present. I didn't really get the feeling from the previous episodes that it was a case of, like, well, millions of years ago they departed Cybertron and they haven't been seen since, and they've just been holding the Decepticons back for that entire time until they finally repaired the bridge and Windblade went through. Like, that doesn't seem... That's not what it felt like to me. So I kind of have to wonder about that. Like, how long has this drone been here? And if it's connected to the Ark, like, why hasn't it interacted with crew members? Was it launched because of the emergency, or what's the deal there? It's a bit of an oddity, and I'd like some answers to that, but I don't know what they could possibly be beyond just a mistake from the writers. Somebody confusing this continuity with the G1 one. G1 one? With the G1 continuity. So, yeah. Not as much to talk about this week in terms of the episodes. Like last time I went on for an hour, and this time I'm barely scratching 40 minutes here, and I don't really know what else to talk about. This is just not a lot here. I like it. I do. These are not bad episodes. They're just less than the previous ones, I think. And kind of just a bit of a letdown in terms of that, episode 12, we had this opportunity to explore the human world and to explore Windblade and Bumblebee's reactions to the humans, and what do they know about the humans, and what do the humans know about them, and we never got that. And the previous episode just feels like something that should have been in a different place within the season, so it's kind of weird, and just I was really getting used to the whole flashback format, so now that we've just kind of stepped away from that, it's a bit odd. So yeah, I'm not really sure how to feel about that. But I don't hate it. I don't dislike these episodes. They're just not what I was hoping for. Though I suppose that's not a good basis for judging them. I'm always getting on people's cases where it's like, you can't have these expectations for something and then be disappointed when your version in your head is not what somebody else made. Like there are plenty of reasons to say hate on the live-action Transformers movies, especially The Last Knight. But one reason that is not a valid reason to hate on it, which is pretty much a lot of the reasoning that was given in certain people's reviews, I'm not naming names, but it's a person pretty big in the YouTube Transformers fandom. This person had expectations for the movie, and when they were making their review of the movie, their big, every reason that they listed off for why they didn't like the movie was, well, this was something that I was expecting and then it didn't happen. And it's like, no, that's not a valid reason to hate on the movie. So yeah, I don't want to be that guy. And these episodes, I don't think they were bad. They just weren't what I was expecting, and I have to adjust to that, and I have to try to frame them through that lens, or not frame them through that lens, rather, and it's kind of hard. Just trying to think about it, and think about, well, what can we take away from Sabotage? Maybe we could kind of take away from it a little bit of, well, here's how Shockwave views the Autobots. That's kind of interesting. It is interesting, I guess, that in his little scenario that he created, the Autobot that Bumblebee basically killed, or tried to at least, was Wheeljack, who we saw in the other flashback what used to be Shockwave's friend. So I kind of have to wonder if he doesn't take that a little bit personally. Maybe he's not as emotionless as he seems. Maybe he just has a very hard time expressing it. Huh. That's a thought. And the next one that comes across him is Ratchet, so maybe that's a thing? Maybe? I don't know. It's also kind of interesting that, he had in that scene, he went as far as making it so that Optimus was also a traitor, and was like, well, now we have to help go back to my old friend Megatron. So it really is kind of interesting that Shockwave not only really knows about and takes to heart the fact that, Megatron and Optimus used to be friends, he probably, like Megatron himself, wants that to be the case again. He wants them to still be together and still be working towards whatever goal is going on. So, kind of strikes me as Shockwave is a true believer, or whatever however you want to put it, which is kind of cool. And just thinking about this also, we got a new character, an Autobot twin, I guess. I know the character. Rack and Ruin is a wrecker in a different couple of continuities, I think. I don't remember Rack and Ruin ever having a design like that, though. The weird Siamese twin thing. I remember Shockwave trying to create something similar, so maybe he was trying to create a Decepticon, like he was trying to Frankenstein together a Decepticon that could counter Rack and Ruin? That's pretty interesting. I wonder if we'll see that character again. It's also interesting to note, like, Shockwave should know, like, which Autobots are on the Ark and which ones aren't, so I have to wonder if all of the ones that we saw are actually on board the Ark. They're just in those stasis pods that were, like, scattered around the cargo hold that we saw in Episode 4, that I was like, oh, are there a lot of other crew members here? And the ones that we saw, maybe they're just, like, the ones that, the essential personnel, rather, that are allowed to stay out of stasis the longest until finally they decide, okay, we can't do this any longer, we have to go into stasis, wake us up when we get there. You know? But yeah, well, it's also interesting that Deadlock, Drift, they have the same design in this episode as he did in the previous one, rather than updating it to new colors like he does in most other continuities. So, yeah, I have to keep an eye out to see if that remains true. So yeah, let's try and find a new angle for the next episode. Clearly, the Decepticons found this drone, captured it, reprogrammed it, or at least convinced it to help them set this trap, which would be an interesting thing to like have expanded upon a little bit, I guess. Like, where did they find it? How did they get it to help them? But I don't know. There's only so much they can do in the time that they have. The old missile silo thing, meh. I don't really care about that. There's not like it's obviously a Transformers Prime reference, but like beyond that, there's not really all that much there. And in fact, the majority of the episode was just fighting. There wasn't a whole lot of substance to the episode, and that's kind of disappointing. Obviously, we get a sort of character out of it. And obviously, there's a big development with Windblade and Bumblebee being split up and no longer able to interact and no longer able to, you know, they're not able to access Bumblebee's memories anymore. So, you know, there's a lot of things like a lot of stuff happened in the episode, kind of. Like, there were developments, definitely, but like it definitely feels like that is the least substance that we've had from any episode so far, which, yeah, disappointing to say the least. And yeah, it probably is my least favorite of these episodes that we've gotten so far when we look at all of them. Like, the first two, maybe, like, together the first two actually have a fair amount of stuff going on. There was Whiteout, but I feel like there was something that happened in Whiteout that was more interesting. Like, we did find Bumblebee's pod there. I kind of forget what else happened in Whiteout. Was there another angle there with Bumblebee's memories? Oh, no. He was learning new phrases from the TV. That's what he was doing. So yeah, this episode and episode 5 are kind of like the low points so far. But the rest of, like, we had a pretty good stretch of like 5 episodes that were all pretty good. So, well, 6 actually, counting episode 11. So, yeah, I mean, well, sort of episode 11. let's go to 5.5. So, yeah. And I think that's gonna be all for this. I'm struggling to breathe, I'm pretty sure it's dinner time, and my recording time is long since up, technically, so yeah, I'm gonna sign off for this one. I'll see you guys with the next episodes as soon as possible. We'll go with that.